Spider-Man Brand New Day is set to hit theaters in almost less than 6 months, and we still do not have an official trailer. And as devastating as that is, the webhead once taught me, with great power comes great leakability. I'm still waiting for my check from Sony from hyping up Spider-Man No Way Home to where they almost racked in $2 billion, because that movie did not get to hit that. From hiding Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield from all the marketing, it came from us fans buzzing, scrounging, scraping, looking for every detail we could find online, and spreading it across like a spiderweb, similar to that of Tobey's room when he learned how to use his... when I learned to use my power, I was 14. My room sure could have looked that way too. Joking aside though, what I do have for you here today is just a couple more details of the supposed trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day. This is coming from a source I heavily trust and has been extremely reliable for me in the past. I most recently used them with my Scream 7 trailer an entire month before it officially got released online, and all that information turned out to be true. This same source has now been able to watch a new version of the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. It's not the same version of the trailer that got leaked online in December, although there are a lot of similar scenes, and I also want to caution you, because of that, not a whole ton of details, because a lot of this alternate version of the trailer just shares a lot of those scenes that we already did see in December, but still some interesting cool tidbits. And for a movie we're all clearly excited about but are waiting for marketing, I thought why not share them with you a little bit. Beginning things off with the things I'm being told about this alternate Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer is that it begins with Spider-Man and Punisher, and Spider-Man is asking Punisher, what is he doing here? Now this is actually something that we did get to see in the leaked version, so that really isn't new, but it looks like this interaction is going to be happening between Spider-Man and the Punisher in his van, which we did get leaked photos of. Punisher does have this big old van and Spider-Man is on top of it. Spider-Man will then proceed to web up Punisher's guns, take it away from him, and stop him. My source says that it makes it clear that Spider-Man isn't completely in line with Punisher's thoughts and he doesn't like him blindly killing. We still get montage shots of Spider-Man fighting a bunch of different villains, including the Hand. He does say a lot of these scenes were extended from the leaked trailer, so we get a lot more of Spider-Man fighting the Hand, and he compares it a lot to the way Shang-Chi looked in its fight scenes. That makes me happy, and I can't wait to see that go down. Don't forget, they did get the stunt choreography team that Jackie Chan created. Recently got a photo of that team on set, so those fight scenes are probably going to look cool. I've even heard that Boomerang might actually be played by Tom Holland's brother. That was like a rumor going around. Don't know if that's true or not, and it doesn't get confirmed in this trailer. I just Tom Holland's been trying to get his brother in the movie, and he got cut out last time in No Way Home. There was a funny interview where Tom Holland revealed that.
I'm chatting to the director about the week's work coming, and he's telling me about this scene. They need a young person to play a burglar who Spider-Man's going to catch. Do you think Harry would want to do it? I'm like, bollocks to Harry, he's doing it. So we're doing this scene, Harry's upside down, swinging back and forward, and bless him, he's doing a really good job, and as the day is going on, he's got these lines, and he's starting to forget his lines, and his eyes are out, they're gonna pop out of his head. But the icing on the cake, and I don't think he actually knows this, we saw the film the other day, and they've cut the scene.
Tombstone in the trailer still says his line talking about the 3 life cycles of a spider, but the villain that we didn't get to see in the leaked trailer that was part of this one is Scorpion, played by Michael Mando. He will be in his full suit and he's having a battle with Spider-Man that looks really awesome. I of course had to ask, please give me your best description about what the Scorpion suit looks like, and my source just responded with these 2 photos saying that it's a mix of these, which if I'm being honest with you, I totally understand doesn't even sound that convincing. And look, I get it if you're watching this video going, are you telling the truth, Chris, or you're making this up? I get that showing these 2 photos isn't that convincing, because I think we could all assume they were definitely going to take inspiration from the Spider-Man PS4 version of Scorpion. That just looks like a good modern design that they can make up, and the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies have done an awesome job with the villain costumes, with Vulture, Mysterio, even some of the upgraded looks of the Fergalicious 5 in No Way Home. What I'm saying is we all could have bet that the suit would have looked something like this, but it's nice to get that confirmation that it is kind of a combination of these 2, and I cannot wait to see that. That's going to be an awesome Scorpion suit. As a random detail, during these fight scenes, there's going to be a scene where Spider-Man gets put up against a bus glass window and gets rubbed across it with a squeaky glass noise. I want to remind you guys that my source is usually only able to watch the trailer once one time and not multiple viewings. So they're just going based off memory and they just rattle off what they remember from that one time viewing. This is another thing also I want to mention because it's one person's opinion. I don't mind bringing it up, although I heavily disagree with what this person is saying next, but I thought, why not bring it up? They told me in their own words, I got a hot take, but the web swinging I saw is ugly. Not a fan of what I saw, and also seems like the comedy isn't fully there. And look, I don't want to piss my source off, and I don't want to put that negative energy out there for Spider-Man, but I thought, why not bring it up? Because this new Spider-Man movie is doing something that the last Spider-Man director specifically told them don't do. John Watts said, as a piece of advice to Destin Daniel Cretton, whatever you do, don't do practical web swinging. You think it'll look cool, you think it'll look nice, but you'll just be wasting time and money, and you'll be disappointed. There was, in fact, a whole scene of Spider-Man Homecoming where they were going to do practical swinging. They had Spider-Man like on a helicopter, and he was going to be swinging and holding an actress. I think there's set photos you can find of this scene, but it didn't make it to the movie because John Watts really did not like the way practical swinging looked. And well, Destin Daniel Cretton said, screw that, and we saw tons of behind the scene videos of practical web swinging, cranes, all this. And look, just from the iPhone footage, I think the swinging looks so awesome, looks so fluid, and I'm so curious to see that. And even in the leaked trailer that happened in December, there's like one shot of Spider-Man swinging to the tank that actually looked really cool. So I can't believe that they said that they think the web swinging actually looked bad. But maybe, hey, web swinging just does look very different when it's practically done over the CGI stuff that we're sometimes used to. There is going to be a shot of the trailer of Spider-Man visiting a grave, which also isn't brand new. We've seen set photos of this. I'm just most wondering though, is it going to be Aunt May or will it also be Uncle Ben? Because Uncle Ben feels like the Voldemort in the Tom Holland Spider-Man series where you're never really allowed to say his name, mention him, or thinking about him. Maybe Destin Daniel Cretton will actually give us some of that Uncle Ben love. If not, it's most likely Aunt May. Unless they go back to the traditional thing of having a funeral for every Spider-Man movie, which was a thing for the longest time. Almost every single Spider-Man movie ends with a funeral. We get a scene again of Tom Holland going up to Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner, but there is different dialogue used this time. Bruce Banner is still a little confused about who Peter Parker might be, asks for his name, but this time then they go to talk about gene mutation. And that to me was interesting because I don't think we have heard that before. Gene mutation. I feel like mutation is actually going to be a big part of Spider-Man Brand New Day, not just in who the mystery character that Sadie Sink is playing, which my source told me there really wasn't any new footage or even dialogue from Sadie Sink in this alternate trailer, but there's big rumors going around that she's going to be playing some sort of mutant and that the Department of Damage Control, which they cast actor Tremel Tillman, is rounding up superheroes, and we did get a hint of that in Wonder Man. That was also being directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who's doing Spider-Man Brand New Day. Looks like they're collecting superpowered individuals to fill their prison, but the gene mutation part, just speculating on my end, I think is going to be a big thing, and not just who Sadie Sink is, in what's going to happen to Mark Ruffalo's The Hulk, and what will happen to Spider-Man. Because this trailer again further emphasizes this weird scene of Spider-Man trapped in a cocoon where he's then released and is given organic webbing. My source, who got to see a much clearer HD version of the trailer, not blurry like we did, confirms, yeah, we are getting organic webbing in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Tom Holland's Peter Parker is going to go through some sort of transformation. And in fact, he really wanted to emphasize to me that Tom Holland looks absolutely ripped when he comes out of that cocoon because he's only in his underwear in an alley in the middle of New York asking to himself what's happening. And I'm curious why this gene mutation is happening to Spider-Man. Is it just a natural evolution of Spider-Man's powers that are now manifesting? Is it this movie's version of what happened to Tobey in Spider-Man 2, where because he was feeling sad and depressed about his life, he was losing his powers? Or is this gene mutation affecting a lot of people on Earth, and is this a repercussion of an incursion happening, worlds molding, things colliding? Because there's also rumors that Bruce Banner's Hulk will be turning into the Grey Hulk and will be a much more savage version. We don't have an explanation or a reasoning for why that's happening, unless Bruce Banner will also go through a form of gene mutation. I'm not sure, but now we know kind of why Peter Parker goes to Bruce Banner, is to pick his brain about gene mutation and what's going on. The final little details that'll be the bigger proof that I wasn't lying to you guys, and that will most likely be showing up in any version of the trailer, because it's just such a nice way to end a Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, is a couple new shots involving MJ, Zendaya's character. There's a moment in the trailer where it looks like Peter and Zendaya are both in the same party, and Peter looks over and Zendaya is about to kiss another guy, and then Peter quickly looking away. We've heard this before, that the movie will introduce MJ having a boyfriend in this movie. It's even rumored to be played by Emin Esfandi, and that's just going to be an interesting, complex angle of Spider-Man Brand New Day, is Peter just having to be happy that MJ is living her life and that she's safe. But what's really interesting to hear that they're at the same party, is Peter attending the same college as Ned and MJ? That's the kind of vibe I was getting, because some more details here is, one, there's a shot in the trailer where it clearly shows that Peter has been stalking Ned and MJ, because there's a lot of videos and photos on his computer of them. So he's just kind of keeping an eye and make sure that they're safe. But it's the final part of this trailer that like made me clap and go, what a great line. There's a moment where MJ and Ned are going into a room right next to Peter's. So they're like in a hallway, whether it's an apartment or a dorm, and MJ and Peter lock eyes and talk to each other, where Peter just says, "Oh, I'm just your neighbor." And MJ responds by saying, "Just your friendly neighbor."
Say that again?
That is honestly such a great line for MJ to do, and that's a classic thing MJ does, you know, always has these lines for Peter, you know, face it, tiger, you just hit the jackpot. But for MJ to look at Peter, not knowing he's Spider-Man, not knowing anything like that, and just naming his classic line of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, I think is such a good moment. But again, it makes me wonder, are they roommates in college? Do they live right next to each other? Is Peter maybe just accidentally following them? He got caught and he's pretending that that room is his. I'm not sure, but I'm curious how that's going to go. Even more curious how they reverse the spell put on them for them to remember Peter and everything that they've done. I really wish I had bigger or more giant things of reveals. Like I said, this is just an alternate version of a trailer that we already saw. At least we know that Sony is currently making it, cutting it up, and testing out versions of it to release online. If the pattern follows of the way my source usually tells me about these things until they hit online, it's usually a month out. That's what I've noticed. Anytime this source usually hits me up and tells me, oh, I got to see this, that trailer isn't really like coming out the next week or even 2 weeks. It usually comes out like a month, sometimes 2 months later. I remember they told me about the Superman trailer, and then that trailer didn't come out till 3 months later. People have pointed out that they really didn't start the No Way Home marketing until 4 months before the movie releases. Maybe that's the same pattern that Sony is going to be following for Spider-Man Brand New Day. But still, I just wanted to share this with you guys, give you a little Spider-Man Brand New Day breadcrumbs. What do you make of some of this stuff? Love to know your theories and thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.